Come, whoever you are, we are all welcome here. We're all welcome with our varieties of age, size, eye color, hair color, skin color. We are welcome here. We have many different genders, orientations, speech styles, abilities, and all of us are welcome here. Some of us come with laughter in our hearts, some with tears in our eyes. Some of us believe in God all the time, some of us some of the time, and some of us none of the time. We are all welcome here, no exceptions. Once I was a stranger here and found a deep welcome. My heart was glad. Each Sunday now is renewed again and again. Together we're a community of open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands.
I think you can stay standing if you want. We're going to light our chalice in a moment here. I mean, I love that song because it reminds us that we're human, and that was a very human rendition of that hymn. So I want to just thank our musicians this morning. Oswaldo, who is Lauren Tien's husband, is here filling in for Lauren. He's also filling in for Rick unexpectedly. So that's kind of why it's a little like, what hand is doing what? So thank you, Oswaldo. Okay. So our call to worship, good morning. I'm Reverend Lora. My pronouns are she and her. I am a tall, light-skinned, red-haired woman with red glasses and a snappy red shirt and the stole given to me by this congregation when you installed me. So this is from Brittany Packnett's 2018 Ware Lecture, which if you don't know what the Ware Lecture is, it's a very big public lecture given each year at our General Assembly, not to be confused with the other thing that happens here in Utah called General Conference. This is our General Assembly, and we have awesome speakers every year, and so Brittany Packnett did that lecture in 2018, and she has this to say, and it seems very timely for this moment. Too often, the idea that marginalized people cannot and should not expect to be fully and sincerely included in the fabric of our communities is reinforced by each of us, by what we say, by what we do not say, by where we show up, by where we do not show up, by who we defend, by who we punish, by the side on which we stand, by the excuses we make for ourselves and the excuses we won't allow from others, by the changes we make room for, and by the evolutions we deem too fast, too revolutionary, or too soon. We get those indications by the people we elevate and by the people we reject, by the movements we call divisive, by the pace we set for the freedom of others, by the individual actions we take to either disrupt or uphold the systems that harm us. All of those moments, all of those choices and more tell marginalized people exactly what we think of their humanity, their dignity, their daring. Each of those choices tells me exactly what you think of my expectations. Each one of those moments of action or inaction tells me precisely what you think of my right to have any expectations at all. With that spirit of resistance and the flames that burn bright in our hearts for justice, let us light our chalice. Normally you would see them on the screen, but we are doing some stuff. Next week, you will see the screen back, so you'll just have to remember it or look in your online order of service. If you're in our online community, please use the chat box to say that chalice is lit in the name of your street. So, we light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. You may be seated. Okay, it is December, and since last week we had our day of service, which I heard was fantastic, we're going to do our birthday blessing right now. So if you have a birthday in December, please come forward. So on behalf of the congregation, receive our blessing. May this coming year open your mind to new possibilities, discoveries and dreams. May your heart be joyful and free. May your spirit be moved to a deeper wisdom. When adventure beckons, may your courage rise, and when sorrow arrives, may friends and family surround you quickly and well. May your compassion for self and others grow ever more rooted in loving kindness, such that your life proves this essential truth, that with love all things are possible. May this blessing wend its way into your consciousness whenever you need it most. This world is better because you are in it, and we are glad that you are here. Many blessings this month on your birthdays. Thank you. And now, not to be outdone by any of the other rituals that we're having today, now we get to do a baby blessing.
Don't you just love seeing little kids? I don't know. I love it. I love it. I love seeing little babies and knowing that they're not mine, that I don't need to take care of them. Sorry. Okay. Anyway. All right. I love my kids, by the way. My kids are fantastic. Anyway. All right. Our community, our church, and its many ministries are only made possible by the gifts that you give of your time, your talent, and your treasure. That's because this is our church. This is our community. What you see is us, right? Many of you pledge monthly to support our work. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all the people who pledge monthly and donate through our online portal, through Breeze, and keep us going. Your gifts help to ensure that we're able to live our values of love and justice in the world outside. Part of our ministry at South Valley includes sharing our Sunday worship offerings with a charitable organization that aligns with our principles and values. We call it the Split Plate Offering. The Second and Second Coalition is our giving partner for November and December. This coalition of advocates, nonprofit partners, and local faith communities provides emergency shelter and a hot meal on the coldest nights to our unhoused neighbors. Please watch happenings in our social media spaces for opportunities to volunteer this winter with them. Please join me in reading our offertory words. They're not up on the screen, obviously, but if you have the order of service or if you have it memorized, here we go. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts. We'll now accept the offering. We invite the ushers to come up, and we'll have some more music. Thank you.
For all we have found the courage to give, may we be truly grateful. May these gifts be a blessing on South Valley and on the life-saving work of the Second and Second Coalition. I invite you now to join me in a time of quiet meditation. This morning we will hold stillness for 2 minutes together. Baby cries are not part of what makes meditation hard. They're what part of makes it easier. So join me now. Today is a day of celebration, yes? We've already done 2. We have 1 more celebration to go. This is a day in which we are intentionally setting aside time to honor the relationships we have chosen to participate in individually and as a collective community. Baby blessings, I like to say, are some of our most important theological work. For unlike a traditional baptism or dedication, which posits that blessings only come from the divine, as Unitarian Universalists, we heartily declare that we participate as well as co-creators in the sacredness of this universe and of our shared lives together. When we bless a child in this congregation, we invite everybody to publicly promise to care and nurture the child and their parents as individuals and as a family unit throughout their lives. This marrying of the practical with the sacred is our way of yoking ourselves to the work of covenant, the practice of intentionally binding ourselves together into a beloved community. Covenants are a public promise, a vow, if you will, a commitment we make freely and with the intention of living into fully. Covenants are public promises we make with the intention of living into fully, even as we know, as soon as the words leave our mouth, that we will inevitably fall short or miss the mark from time to time. And that is kind of the point, actually. Nobody lives into covenant perfectly. Nobody, not even the minister. Thus, our covenants to love and care for each other and to uphold our shared values, support the development of good character, must also make space for things like healthy conflict. They must be gracious and generous to ourselves and others when we fall short to them, and they must have a sense of spaciousness so that we can do the important work of reflection, so that when we do miss the mark, there is room for repair, recovery, and redemption. And so while covenants are always aspirational, they are in fact very practically lived into. I like to think of them as like the comfortable family couch that has seen its share of spills, overnight guests, and wild pets. Covenants are meant to be there so that you can bring your most vulnerable self, the one that admits that it doesn't have it all together, but that you are really trying to do that work of self-reflection and compassion for others such that you can grow and develop over time into a more whole sense of yourself. Covenants are also an act of limiting ourselves. They're an act of limiting ourselves so that we might be in a healthy and vibrant relationship with one another. Covenants are therefore deeply moral and deeply ethically held. They are the building blocks of our character. And while sometimes it can feel a little jarring in a liberal congregation like this to talk about words like morality and character, it is in fact crucial that we do so. For moral and ethical character that is well articulated, rooted in kindness and justice, flexible enough to allow for nuance and growth over time, is the actual backbone of our faith. And it is the backbone of the democratic process upon which this congregation and this nation are actually founded. As Unitarian Universalists, we have long recognized that covenant is far more important and powerful than creed. For beliefs and perspectives can and should shift over time and evolve as we grow and learn about what it means to be this human and that human and all of those humans. Covenants are how we are called to treat each other in good times, but also in those really sticky and complex times. A time like this, for example, in the world. A time when it can be so easy to dismiss and deny the humanity of others. We are called to root in and to focus on the humanity of everyone around us, especially those that are being made more vulnerable and more marginalized at a time like this. Kindness is therefore the basis of all of our covenants. And I will remind you that kindness is not to be confused with niceness. Niceness is what we do when we wish to avoid conflict. And it has its place, for sure. For example, when our physical safety might be at risk, being nice so that you can exit a situation might be the best call. In contrast, though, kindness can and will stir things up for good, even if it doesn't feel that way initially. An offer of kindness opens hearts and creates connections. It also, though, has a solid foundation in ethical considerations for self and others. I'd like to think that kindness is far more robust than niceness. For whereas niceness can help us navigate social situations that are uncomfortable, right, by reducing social, emotional, and physical risks for some, kindness works to highlight those gaps, highlight those missteps and the injustices by stepping closer to the suffering and inviting us to see more clearly what must be done to bring about healing, liberation, salvation, that ancient word that can be interpreted multiple ways. Salvation, liberation, and healing are all in that one word that comes to us so often in the Christian tradition as salvation alone. In our tradition as Unitarian Universalists, confident can also be known by the name of right relationship, a space in which all parties are held in respect, conflict is managed in healthy ways, and we are gracious and compassionate. And that requires that we have that understanding of the nuance between kindness and niceness. To remember that kindness makes your heart beat fast because it takes courage. Kindness requires us to speak up, to tell the truth, to hold open the possibility for repair. It requires accountability. And most importantly, it does not demand forgiveness as a pro forma response to it being asked for. Kindness rather invites us to do the work of self-reflection individually and collectively. And that is what we are about in this congregation. That is what is underneath our rituals of a baby blessing and in a moment welcoming new members in the congregation. It's even part of our birthday blessing. We make space for joyfulness and care, as well as to hold the suffering and the sorrow and the fear that so often is also a part of the human experience. Recently, the Unitarian Universalist Association, which is our large governing sort of association, came up with a new way of expressing our principles and our covenants. And what is unique about this is many of you who have been Unitarian Universalists for many decades are familiar with our 7 principles and our 6 sources, and we added an 8th principle, and those are all still present and alive among us. And we have started the process of evolving our principles and our covenants because we want to finally take this bold step to name love as the foundation. Our principles previous to that never actually mentioned the word love, which is kind of amazing for a community of people that put love at the center of so much of what we do. And so this new covenanting process that we are feeling our way into is our best attempt right now to move that theological conversation to invite us away from a strict list of statements and into a process of asking and answering new questions as we move along. Is it perfect? Nope. Like a new tool in our spiritual toolbox, it is going to take us some time to figure out how to do it. And that, I will remind those of you who have been lifelong Unitarian Universalists, is actually the point of Unitarian Universalism, that we are a community of people seeking to learn and grow and nurture and care for one another in new ways as we grow and learn and get deeper and kinder. As we seek to widen that circle of inclusivity to mostly include ourselves first and then others, we can use this work, this idea that love is what will always guide us, as the foundational core of our faith. So I invite you now, as we get ready to welcome in some new members of this congregation, to sit in this sacred place, be it here in this sanctuary or in our online community, to see how the invitation to be part of covenant is exactly what we need most in the United States right now. At a time when institutions have been breaking down and we've been doing the good work of transforming unjust systems, we need to remember that the community organizing, the community clubs, the civic engagement, those are the things that will help support us and help support this community and this nation in sustaining robust democratic processes so that all may live a life free of fear, so that all may live and have an opportunity to have deep joy in their lives. I invite you just to take a look around for just a moment and see all the co-conspirators that you have in this room. All the people who are equally committed to love and justice in the world, and who really, really want you to be a joyful, beloved human being. So, as you go forth into this week, I ask you, if you had that perspective of the sacred covenant that you are in with yourself and with everyone else in this community, how might that lead you to restore, repair, and love the world? Whose suffering might you reduce or eliminate? And who might you now be able to include just a little bit more? And who in this community right now might need to hear that message? And what if it was you that was given the opportunity to give it? I invite you to reach out in the days and weeks to come in that spirit of covenantal love, so that we can make of this world the place that it most ought to be, and so that you will know in time that indeed this world is a better place because you are in it. May it be so. And so it is. So now I'm going to invite Sarah and Lori to come forward at this time.
Membership in this community comes with both responsibilities and opportunities for living an enriched life of service. As a member, we ask 3 things of you. First, we ask that you attend worship regularly. Worship is the heart of our congregation's shared experience. While, of course, we all need to be away from time to time, we ask that you make it a priority to be present with us on Sunday mornings. Second, we ask that you get involved in one of our many ministries and make service to and for the community part of your commitment. This is a shared ministry, and our work is amplified and made brighter by the gifts you share with us. Join one of our Soul Matters groups, the choir, or volunteer for a ministry or leadership team. Third, we ask that you make a pledge to support the work of this community. Your pledge is critical to sustaining our many ministries and ensuring that those in need of a community such as ours may know of it.
In the spirit of dedication, I now invite you to recite the words that are printed in the order of service. Okay. Oh, welcome, Nancy. Yay. Okay. So, please start together. This.
Like me and different. Together you make it what it is. I want this community to be a source of light and wholeness. It will be if I am. It will make generous gifts if I am a generous giver. It will be a friendly and welcoming place if I remember to reach out. It will be a responsible steward of resources if I participate responsibly in it. It will share beauty and challenging thought with other people if I invite them. It will increase in wisdom if I am diligent in my own spiritual growth. It will be a community of fearlessness and faith, of loyalty and love, if I, who make it what it is, am filled with these. As I become a member of this congregation, I dedicate myself to the goal of becoming all the things I want my church to be.
Will the congregation join us in welcoming our new fellow members by speaking together the affirmations printed in your orders of service?
We rejoice in the promise of new friendship and growth as we renew and expand our covenant together. May the splendid measure of life continue to be celebrated faithfully here, and in this community, may the human spirit always find an ample home.
Into this community, this covenantal community of memory and promise, these members are now enfolded. May this congregation nurture and challenge them, offering comfort and guidance and calling forth the best in each of you. May they, in their turn, bring to this institution energy, vision, and commitment. And may it become ever more fully the community we hope it to be. And now we're going to give you some gifts. This flower is to represent all the seasons of your life, both the thorny parts and the blossoming parts, that all of you is welcome here in this community. But Costco took all the thorns off, but we know they were there originally. And this is our book, A Pocket Guide for Unitarian Universalists, which talks a little bit more about what you have just signed up for. Yeah. Please join me in welcoming these members with a hearty round of applause. All right, let's sing ourselves out of here with our old favorite, Blue Boat Home, number 1064, in the teal hymnal. Please rise as you're willing and able in body, mind, and spirit, and then remain standing after the hymn so we can extinguish our chalice.
I
So moved as to hold hands, I encourage you to do that. If you wish to just put your hands on your heart, just receive. The belovedness of this community is such that you have created it. Don't let anyone ever tell you it's not possible to live in hopeful and joyful community, because we are already doing it. We've been doing it for a long time, and nothing is going to stop us from continuing to do that, no matter what storms come our way. For we really are our own blue boat, aren't we not? May you be blessed this week. May you be inspired to be kind and courageous. And may you know that you are a beloved member of the universe and this congregation. Let us extinguish our chalice. We extinguish our chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action, and we hold each other and maybe hug each other with consent into our hearts until we meet again. Please be seated for the postlude.